fact, and I'll get into a little bit of my story and background on sales. So if you suck at sales right now, don't worry. Do not worry. I used to be terrible at sales, and when I say terrible, I mean terrible. I have to laugh because it was so ridiculous how bad I was at sales. I got fired from multiple sales jobs. I remember doing door-to-door selling for ADT Insurance, which door-to-door sales is extremely hard compared to how you're doing your core sales. It's a joke. A lot of people don't realize just how hard, not only mentally, but also physically doing door-to-door sales is. If you can survive that, you can survive anything. But I was terrible at that. I also remember selling prepaid legal. I don't know if you're old enough to remember prepaid legal. That was a bit of a door-to-door, business-to-business type thing too. Just all types of sales jobs. And it never seemed to click because I didn't have the mindset switch. But right now, if you're like, you know what, I suck at sales, I'm super terrified by this, don't worry. And I'm being honest, okay? You do not have to be a master at it right now. You are going to improve very quick using our system. It's not a complicated system, and that's the whole point. The entire framework of Course Clients Rainmaker is to make it as simple and as lean as possible. We're constantly recording and re-recording and updating this program in order to streamline it. And maybe 6 months from now, it'll be even more streamlined. We're always looking for what is the absolute minimum required by our clients in order to get the results they want, right? You shouldn't have to sit through a program for 6 months in order to get the rewards, right? So sales isn't something you're born with. It's a mindset switch. I'll talk about that shortly, but this makes a huge difference. When the light bulb went off in my head and I had the mindset switch, it turned everything around for me for sales, right? So right now you might be like, well, I'm not a natural at sales. You might think, well, some people are just born with it, and I'm definitely not. That's not true. And I'll explain that here in a little bit. So don't be overcome with worry about this, okay? It's something you're going to master and then can outsource it eventually. Now, why is eventually bolded and underlined? Because it's paramount that you learn how to do this yourself first. And there's a couple reasons why. One, in order to have full control of your business, you need to know how it runs every step of the way. Two, people quit. People decide to move on. All kinds of things happen. Maybe you have to fire somebody. And let's say that you hire a pro closer and maybe they put together a sales team for you. And then let's say one day he takes everyone with him and says, I don't want to work for you anymore. And then all of a sudden your monthly income goes from 50 or 100K a month to nothing. And you don't have the skills to keep it going while you find someone else to replace them, which could take you a month, could take you a couple months. It is a skill you need to learn. And trust me, you do not have to do 8,000 calls in order to become good at it. You just don't. Okay? So you got to get it down or else your business won't scale properly and your business won't be anti-fragile. This is all about ensuring your program is as anti-fragile as possible. So what is a clarity call, right? I'm sure you've seen this phrase a couple times. What is a clarity call? Well, clarity call is another way of saying strategy session or scale session, right? You're in this program because you went through a scale session. And it's really just a fill in the blank with any way you want to say, hey, let's get on the phone and see if we're both a good fit for each other. That's all it is at the end of the day. It's not a sales call. Now, obviously, a lot of people say, well, it's a sales call because they're going to pitch you at the end. Well, it's not a charity call because you're obviously not running ads to get on the phone completely for free and not offer a product. You would go bankrupt. So people that have that attitude can, continue to suspend logic and live in a fantasy land. However, you don't want to look at it as a sales call. Even though, yes, there is somewhat of a quote unquote pitch, it's only after seeing first if they're actually the right fit for you and your course. You're not just taking this call and thinking, all right, well, I got to close them. I get them on the phone. Yeah, I know right off the bat, this is perfect for them. No, you don't. Their application might be good, but they might not be right, right? You'll see, depending on how you do your application, we tend to make ours stricter and stricter as we go on to really weed out the people who are not a good fit for course clients. But you'll see that you'll get some people on the phone. It looks great on the application, and they're just not the right fit once you dig deep and find out more about what they're trying to solve. Then there's other people, maybe their application isn't that strong on the surface, and you get them on the phone and you find out you are just right for them. And it's your moral obligation to really say, hey, listen, we can help you. This is the course for you. So that's what a clarity call is all about. Okay, clarity call is a good choice because it's giving them clarity. Okay, strategy session has been used a lot. We kind of recommend differentiating yourself from other people, but you don't have to. You can use strategy session. We use scale session. And why? Well, because the point is for us to see if you're a good fit, for us to scale your course sales. So it makes sense for our brand. Okay, you can call it whatever you like though. So it's nothing to get stuck or hung up on. If you really are stuck on what to call yours, just pick one. It makes most of the sense for you. It's really not something to overthink. If you're really confused about it, ask your coach and they'll give you feedback on what to choose. So what's the purpose of clarity calls? Why have people get on the phone with you? Why not just sell your course directly on a long form sales page? Why not sell your course on an automated webinar? Which some people may choose to do that. Here at Course Clients, we teach both options, which is this option and then the automated webinar option. In terms of automated webinar to checkout page, there's also the automated webinar to the phone booking and application. Well, I'm going to break that down right now so it's crystal clear for you. And then you can see, well, maybe this makes more sense for me. I didn't think of it like that. One, it really weeds out people who aren't serious about working with you. There's a lot of people who go to a checkout page or sales page and be like, I'll buy that. It's $300. All right, whatever. They're never going to log in. They're never going to get results. You're never going to change their life. You'll make $300. Congrats, but that's not really life-changing money anyway. Two, it ensures only the right people get in your program or course. Okay, really screening out the people who just, quite honestly, are not a good fit. This is really being extremely responsible. Are these the right type of people that you want in your course? Three, it allows you to make sure they have what it takes to succeed in your course. Right? A higher success rate, obviously, the obvious thing is, yes, you help them. But let's look at the business from a business perspective. The higher success rate, well, that equals more testimonials for you. And that means more success for your company, which equals more profit for you in the long run. So up front, you may be like, well, I'd just rather run, 500 people through my sales page and charge $500. Okay, you can totally do that. It's a free world. It's not our system though. And we don't teach that system because ours is much superior. Using this system specifically right here, you're able to charge much more than a traditional sales page. That brings us to the fourth point. So using the phone and the application combination system, you'll be charging $3,000 to $10,000 and getting it. So that means instead of your course costing $300 to enroll in or $500, no, it's $3,000 or it's $5,000 or it's $7,000 or it's $10,000. We and the market's going to help us decide where your sweet spot is. You're going to test it out as you grow, as you get bigger, as you get more testimonials, as you get more success. You'll be able to raise the price even higher. So your mind might be blown right now, and that's a good thing because this will put it all into perspective for you. Now you see why it makes sense to get on the phone with a potential client. There's the obvious monetary gain. There is the gain of having people in your course that actually will appreciate it and want to be a part of it. It's also ensuring that you're only going to have people who will be really successful. So there's a lot of benefits to it. And while it may seem like more upfront work, in the long run, it's incredibly powerful, especially as you build out your sales team and they're handling the calls. You don't have to worry about it. So it's literally no different than you just selling on a checkout page, because you're not handling the calls. You're on the beach. You're out playing golf. You're at the mall. You're spending time with your family, doing whatever you want as this sales machine runs smoothly for you, right? So what's the number one secret of sales? The number one secret is you are not selling. You are not selling. Now, this is super key. Okay, you're merely guiding them to making an educated decision about something they actually need. You're merely guiding them because people need to be led. Okay, they are coming to you. They booked a call. They filled out an application. They're coming to you because they need an answer. They need a solution. And they think that you might have the solution, and you might. You're just guiding them to making an educated decision about something they actually need. Now, let's say they don't need it, and let's say they're not a right fit, then you can respectfully decline allowing them into your course. Now, I'll go over that when I go over the script. Well, I think at this time it's just not a good fit for you. Maybe in the future. I think the timing's not right. I think what you're looking for is a bit different than what I can provide in my course. So it's just not a right fit. The 1980s style of selling, probably images of Boiler Room and Wall Street and all those type of movies comes to mind. Well, that style of selling is dead. D-E-A-D, dead. Now, obviously, yeah, people are still teaching it. There are definitely people that are making a lot of money teaching these techniques that don't work. We don't teach that way. We found it. That is absolutely not work. It's not our style anyway. When we launch course clients, I very much am an anti-seller type. I don't want that pushy vibe with our company. So very simply, I say we've got to find the best way to sell this without selling. Really, it's about the client coming first no matter what. Pure excellence. So everything about sales you know right now, you might want to forget, unless you've been taught to sell ethically without being pushy, slimy, or salesy. But most people are taught to sell very pushy, like very salesy. You need to do this right now. Does that work? Well, yeah, to an extent. Is that a good ethical way of being? We don't think so. Is that a good way to sell long term? We don't think so. We're in this for the long haul, not quick gain. So have some heart. This is the beautiful part. Maybe you're still scared of selling. You don't have to change who you are in order to sell. This is what's amazing. Most people think they have to morph into a very charismatic person. They feel like they've got to morph into this super seller. You don't have to change who you are in order to sell. All you need to do is follow our script. That's right. We're going to give you our script. Literally the script we used when we talked to you. And you're going to have the best interest of your potential client, student, customer, whatever you want to call them, at heart. So when you operate from a place of, can I actually help this person on the phone? Then magically, everything falls into place. You're taking the focus off you, and I'm not a salesman, and I'm not a saleswoman, and I don't like to be pushy, and I don't want to be in people's face, and I, to focusing on that person. Can I actually help them? Can I put the focus on them and actually listen and be in the moment right now? And see if is this a good fit for them? Do I want to make the money? Sure, I want to make the money. But is this a good long-term fit for them? Is this a good long-term fit for me? Let's put the money to the side. All of a sudden, magically, you're not going to feel like you're selling anymore. All of a sudden, you don't feel like you need to get out of your comfort zone. You're just naturally going to be interested in them. People ask, how do you be interesting? Be interested. Be interested. When you're interested in someone else, truly, I don't mean on a surface level, like, hey, how you doing? No, when you're truly interested in someone, when you're truly interested in something, you don't have to fake it. It's going to come naturally. shifting the focus. So here's what happens when you do that. One, your potential client's guard will go down because they're going to literally feel you actually care about them and want what is best for them. So even if that's not your course, I don't really handle sales calls that much, too much anymore. I will here and there. I try to handle probably maybe 2 or 3 a week just to stay in practice. It's just a good muscle to keep in practice. But I have a head of sales director, and he handles all the calls and assist and the team and all that. And he loves it, right? That is the perfect fit for him here at Course Clients. But on every one of my calls I've ever had where I didn't think it was a good fit for him, or I said, you know what, I don't think this is right for you right now, right? I think the timing's off, or I don't think you should put yourself in that position financially. I just don't, the timing's not right. Not because, you see, the reality is some people need to take calculated risk. That's the only part missing. They take that low calculated risk and they get way ahead in life. I've done it before too. There's some people that even if they take that calculated financial risk, it's not going to work because mentally they're not in the right headspace. But what I've had is people say, you know what, I have never had a call be like this, or someone said, I don't think you should do this right now. They're like, it's always, you should do it right now. Always pushing the sale, never actually caring or giving a rat's rear end about the client. So that's what happens. Your potential client's guard goes down because they're going to feel you actually care about them. You can't fake that. They can sense it on the phone. They know. 2, they'll actually want it more. And if they're a good fit, then boom, you can close easier. Okay? This is not about using a takeaway tactic. It's literally being authentic and real and following a specific progression. You'll see this in the script. And it naturally will probably make them want it more. Okay? And a lot of that is because of the progression of it. But if they're not a good fit and they still want it, then you'll turn them down. 3, operating from a place of being sincere and merely guiding people to make a decision firmly establishes you as the what? The leader. And that sets the right dynamic for when they're learning from you in your course, which is the student-teacher dynamic. People are coming to you because they want a leader. Remember, if you think about the earlier training that you watched, where I went into how you need to become an industry leader, how you need to lead your market. It starts even here on the phone. Are you going to lead them to the destination where they need to go? Are you going to lead them to the solution they need? So don't overcomplicate this. This is really important, okay? I'm sure when you looked at the sales authority training, you're like, oh my God, here we go. 5 hours of exactly what to do, 30 hours of script work. No, super, super simple. Like I've said before, we keep things super streamlined. We found the more information people get, it slows them down and they don't implement. We give you the bare bones. Don't overcomplicate this, okay? The reality is people who succeed with Course Clients do exactly what we say and nothing more. They do not overcomplicate it. I cannot stress that enough. So you don't need to take, 100 plus hours of phone closing courses to use our technique and be successful. Will that hurt you? I mean, depends on who you're taking it from and if the technique lines up with ours. But in general, no, you just need to implement our technique over and over and over again. Okay? You can't have 2 sales calls, don't close them and say, well, this doesn't work. Okay? If you have 20 sales calls and you don't close any of them, then there's probably something off with the offer, something off with your course, or something off with your leads. There's something off with your calls. But it works. So, and if you really get stuck, throughout this process, if it's something where you just get really stuck, you're banging your head against the wall, you're frustrated, you can talk to our head of sales one-on-one, right? He'll give you the specific feedback you need to close at will. He can listen back to your phone, call recordings, and help you out. Okay, so you cannot get stuck with this. It is impossible to get stuck unless you're quiet, unless you don't reach out to us. So let's talk about something important, and that's flipping the switch. So you got to flip the switch in your mind. I'm not selling. I'm merely presenting my solution to them. A solution they actually need to improve this aspect of their life. And it is my moral obligation to help them right now. I'm not selling, right? I'm not getting on this call to sell them. They're the ones reaching out to me. They're the ones that clicked on my ad. They're the ones that filled out an application. They're the ones that took the time to do that. I'm getting on the phone. I'm listening to their problem. And I'm merely presenting my solution to them. A solution they actually need to improve this aspect of their life, to solve this burning problem, whatever that is. And it's your moral obligation to help them right now. When you flip that switch, you're no longer to be thinking about as selling. You're going to be thinking about it like this. Now, doctor, imagine for a moment you're a doctor. I'm dead serious, right? If you have to close your eyes for a second, just listen to me. Imagine for a moment you are a doctor. Not just a general doctor, but a specialist. And your course, remember how we narrowed your niche down? Your course is within that niche their solvent, the solution, the quote unquote medication they need to solve their problem. So you're not a general doctor. That's why you don't have a general avatar, right? That's why you don't have a general audience you serve. It's specific. You are a specialist. You are a foot surgeon. You're an eye surgeon. You're a plastic surgeon who specializes in rhinoplasty or breast augmentation, whatever it is. You're a specialist. You're the best at what you do. So what does a doctor do when you go in for a consultation? They diagnose the problem. They listen first. Your job on the clarity call, strategy session, whatever you call it, is to merely diagnose the problem. You cannot diagnose it. You cannot offer your course as the solution until you've thoroughly heard exactly what you need to hear, until you know exactly what's going on. Then after diagnosis, you can then present the solution, which is your course, to the potential client. Okay, you're not jumping the gun and thinking about selling your course right off the bat. I just got to get it. I got to close. Until after you've actually heard their situation and seeing if they do need it and if the timing is right. It could be they need your course, but the timing is just completely wrong. And you just feel in your gut it's not the right timing for them. Okay, what this does is this will put you in the right mindset, one of someone who actually cares, is an expert, and can properly, quote unquote, prescribe a solution, aka your course. Now, I bet you feel different already thinking of it like that. I know that this will make all the difference in the world for you when you apply this mindset and you apply the mindset switch when it comes to sales. It will make all the difference in the world. It also puts you in a position where you're not needy. You're not super over the top. You're not hypey. You're not salesy. You're merely listening to the problem, you're asking the proper questions, and presenting your solution. And if it's the right fit, then it is a natural progression for them to join and to pay $3,000, $4,000, $6,000, $10,000. Does that make sense? So that mindset switch will literally change sales for you forever. You won't feel sleazy. You won't feel pushy. Instead, you're going to feel like the expert you are. I mean, you are an expert. You would not be in this program if you weren't. We don't accept people who are not experts. You'll feel the obligation to be firm about the decision that needs to be made, right? Because as a doctor, it's your job to lead. Remember the role playing we're talking about. And you'll be doing the right thing for your potential client each and every time. So using this process allows both you and your potential client to win every time. It allows both you and your potential client to win every time. You're doing what's best for them. You're being a leader. You're guiding them to the only rational, logical decision, which if all the ducks line up, is yes, to enroll in your program. Now, next up, I'm going to walk you through our course client sales script, piece by piece, explaining why we're saying what we're saying and how it all works. This is super in detail. You're going to want to watch it multiple times because there's so many nuances. And then you can download the course client sales script for your own use. I'm going to show you how to tweak it to perfectly fit your course because it'll work no matter what type of niche you're in or anything. I'm going to break that down for you. And you can use it in your clarity calls, whatever you decide to call them, it doesn't matter. All right, I'll see you in that video next.